Welcome to Get a Clue Casual Gamer, where we get a clue, CLUE, about a game or a list of games. And today we're going to be looking at my favorite games that came out last year, 2022. I have made a list of the games I own, and out of those, the games I've played, and then a list of games that came out last year that are on my wish list. Yeah, let's just say altogether I have 51 games here. 24 of them I own, and 27 of them I'm wishing for. I'm not going to give you all of those. I will name them, but I'm going to give you my top 10 of the games that I own and have played. And then my top 3 of the anticipating playing of the ones I own but have not played. And then I'll give you my top 5 on my wish list that I most am looking at. So let's begin. I'll give you a clue about my lists. A lot of games come out every year, and if you're not aware of that, this list should let you know, because 51 games that are on my list, and that's only ones that look like they interest me, and most of them are in the casual level. I do have a few mediums. I don't think I have any medium hards at all. Basically, I tend to go toward from light to medium. I will occasionally play medium hard games at gaming retreats and such, but my day-to-day gaming tends to be in the casual level, hence this channel. Okay, so my top 10 that I own that I've played that came out in 2022. Number 10 is one called Get On Board, New York and London. It is a re-implementation of Let's Make a Bus Route, which was basically only available in Japan, and it became popular enough that people were wanting it. They had a chance to play it but couldn't buy it. So finally the company decided to create one for the Western world. And it, if you have 2 to 3 players, you play on the New York side. If you have 4 or 5 players, you play on the London side. And you are creating a bus route, get on board through those cities with all different ways of getting points and credit by picking up tourists and students, taking tourists to tourist sites and students to schools and other people to different jobs. It's a little complicated, but not outside the casual level. In fact, BGG, Board Game Geek, has it at a 1.9, which is not bad at all. A 1 to 2.5 is what I use for this channel. Okay, number 9. Number 9 is Next Station London. We're just getting around London, apparently. This is a roll and write game. Where's it, flip and write? I think it's a flip and write. It's been a couple weeks since I played it, and I've only played it 2 or 3 times. So it's a flip and write, and you are it's a little, it's wow, yeah. You're trying to create lines between stations, the tube, the subway in London, and everyone starts with a different color line, but you're having to use the flipped shapes, directions for your color. So everyone is going to be looking different because you all are starting at a different color hub station, And so no two lines will be the same. It's impossible. The chances of that is crazy. Number 8 is another. Let's see. Is it a flip? No, it's a roll and write. Dungeons, Dice, and Danger is a dungeon crawl roll and write. A dungeon crawl roll and write. I have played it a couple times with another player, and I've played it several times solo. I find the solo mode just about impossible and not as much fun as when I'm playing with other people, because the automa for solo play is quite vicious. It's not as much fun as if you have multiple players. You can play it. I have played it, but I would suggest trying. If you're a solo player, play it solo, but then play it with somebody else and see which one you prefer. Just saying, a heads up. And that was my number 8. Number 7 is Word Heist, which is a very basic word game for 2 people. It does not take a lot of space. I played it with my cousin while he was in the hospital, so all we had was hospital tray, and we were able to play it easily. I'm looking, it's right over there. Okay. Really, yeah. It's a very simple game. The concept is that there's a bag with consonants and a bag with vowels, and you take a certain number of consonants, a certain number of vowels, and then behind your screen, you create a word. You can use as many or as few of the letters that you pulled out as you wish. And then once you write down that word, then you take all of their tiles, mix them up again, and give them to your opponent. And then your opponent gives you theirs, and then through questions, answers, point giving, and such, you're trying to guess your opponent's word for the fewest points before they discover your word for the fewest points. So that is Word Heist. You're stealing a word from the opponent. Number 6 is Sounds Fishy. We go from a 2-player game to a party game. Sounds Fishy is kind of like Balderdash in that one person will be the person who tells the truth, and everyone else will be making up an answer. So the person who is it, and you rotate the person who's it, will be holding up a question, and some sort of trivia type of question, and they will read it, but on the back side of that card is the answer, the true answer. Now before that, everyone other than the person trying to guess, everyone receives one of these fish about this size, and you secretly look at it, and if you are, I believe it's the blue fish, everyone else is a red fish, but if you get the blue fish, you get to give the right answer, the correct one, and everyone else has to come up with a plausible option, other answer, but they also know what the true answer is, so they can tweak it and make it sound like it's similar. Yeah, it's an interesting game, and it's very light, very easy. You can play it as short or as long as you want, and that is Sounds Fishy. Number 5. Number 5 is a game I do not own, but I have played. I put this on the wrong, well, I did put it on the wrong list because others I've played are actually in my wish list. But oh no, I don't, because I own it. I played it before I owned it, but I liked it enough that I actually bought it. Old London Bridge. My goodness, I'm a little tired. I only got a few hours sleep last night. Okay, so my number 5 is Old London Bridge. We're visiting London for a 3rd time in this list. And basically, there's a board, and there's a little rondel thing, a little thing that moves, um, and or and you have a cardboard bridge, and you're trying to uh, choose or purchase um, houses, business, yeah, they're basically houses with number, the street number on it, but trying to get them in ascending order on your bridge. Everyone has their own bridge, but you also have other ways of going up tracks and stuff and getting points that way as well. It sounds complicated, but it's only a 1.8, so it's really not. Once you see it, and especially once you've played it at least once, you kind of get the flow of it, and you're like, oh, okay, now I got it. Now I could go more for those points over there and not worry so much about this. Or I could, yeah, Old London Bridge, medieval times London, opposed to the two modern ones of the Get On Board and whatchamacallit, Next Station London. This is Old London Bridge. Okay, my number 4 has been around most of the year now, Long Shot the Dice Game. And I can enjoy it solo as much as I can with other people. I really like Long Shot the Dice Game. You are betting on horses. It's a roll and write, so you're rolling dice, and it tells you which horse is going to move, which number of horse moves, and how many spaces they move. And then you have whiteboards that you can write down. Okay, so number 2 got moved. I can choose to X out a jersey for number 2, which means I can do something else, which means, so there's all kinds of things you can choose from. I mean, but not so much. I mean, it's like there's like 4, maybe 5 things you can do every time someone rolls the dice. So there's no downtime, because every time someone rolls the dice, then everyone gets to do something dependent on those dice. So it's a very easy game, very fun game, and you're just trying to win as much points as you can with this horse race. Yeah, Long Shot the Dice Game. That was my number 4. Number 3 is I got it on Kickstarter, though you can buy it now all over the place. Online especially, you can find Trekking Through History. I am very glad that I kickstarted it. I received it. It has been a hit for everyone who has tried playing it. And I love history. It's a beautiful box cover. The artwork is gorgeous, bright and colorful. And the game does not last too long, but it gives you some good things to do in the game while you're playing it. I really like Trekking Through History. That was my number 3. My number 2 is Decorum. Yeah, I have played it with 3, and I've played it with 2, and oh my goodness, is there a difference? I would definitely suggest playing it with 2 if either of you playing is new to the game. You really need to have a couple of those under your belt before you try a 3 and 4 player. It just becomes a little bit more complicated with 3 or 4 players. So I would suggest I love the game. I have a friend who despises the game and another friend who enjoyed the game. So it's like, it is pure deduction. You are friends getting ready to move into an apartment together. It's 4 rooms, I believe. I think if it's 4 players, you might 3 and 4 players, you might flip it, and there's 2 bedrooms in that apartment, opposed to the 2 player side. Has 1 bedroom, a bathroom, a living room, and a kitchen, I think, are the 4 rooms. But the concept is that you're trying, each of you has a decorating expectation. And it's secret to everyone else. But you need to choose from 4 objects or wall color. Work it until everybody is happy with how it's set up. For instance, mine might say no red upstairs. So it doesn't matter what the object is, it cannot be red, and the walls cannot be red. Now somebody else might have red on the left side of the house. When they keep on trying to put red in that upstairs bedroom or bathroom, whichever is on the left, and you keep on undoing it, that between the 2 of you, you've got to figure out, oh, he's wanting red, but the way it's created, the game, there is no contradiction. It can be done. Technically, in that case, somehow you would have to figure out that he would have to figure out that you don't want red upstairs, and you have to figure out he wants red on the left side. So you might suggest red in the downstairs left, and that would comply with you and him. Deduction. The game is called decorum. You're decorating. And my number 1 game that I own, that I have played, is Rear Window. I love the movie. The Rear Window plays similar to Mysterium, but I prefer Rear Window. I just like the flow of it, the way it goes. It's a cooperative game. Decorum is a cooperative game as well. But Rear Window, you're trying to figure out who lives in which apartment and something about them. The something about them might be that they're a murderer, but it could be that they are an art connoisseur, or that they love animals, or whatever. There's a whole pile of different things that they could be. And it really plays in 4 rounds, and the first time I played it, they solved. I was the director both times I've played it. Totally different groups. The first group got it at the last moment. The last switch they did made it correct. I was going crazy trying to not show how stressed I was that they kept on going back and forth between 2 things, and I'm here going, you have everything right except that one thing, and oh, so-and-so, stop talking, and trying to talk them into putting that one there. And then the second one, we lost because it's cooperative. I'm wanting them to get it right. We lost by 1 characteristic. We had all the people right and 3 of the characteristics right, but one of them, yeah, they didn't get it. So we lost. But that is Rear Window. Love that game. Now, the other games that I own that I have not mentioned, I'm not going to tell you about them, but you can look up any information that I've done or that other people have done about them. And it includes, in no particular, well, actually alphabetical order, Gift of Tulips, a card game that was my first Kickstarter. I got one from my mom too. The Olive Cats Explore and Draw, Kites, Town 66, which is my newest game, and Vivid Memories. Those are the ones that I hadn't put in my top 10, but out of the ones that I own that I have not played, my top 3 are Fun Facts, again, another party game, and it's really a good game for people who know each other and for people who know nothing about each other. It's a great icebreaker, and it's also a great game to play with people you know pretty well. Number 2 is Museum Suspects, which I believe is right there. Museum Suspects, you're trying to figure out who stole something from the museum. It's a deduction game. Number 1 is Her Story, same company as Trekking Through History. Her Story I've heard only good things about, and it's a game about, I believe it's 150 women are on cards in this game, and you're trying to create a book of their stories, and whoever gets the book filled first wins the game. Her Story. Other ones that I own that I have not played yet are Three Sisters, which is a roll and write, a pretty heavy roll and write. That Old Wallpaper, which is tile laying with cards, pattern matching. Planted, a game of nature and nurture, that one right there. And Maui. I'm not sure where I've put Maui these days. It's a new, oh, there it is, right there, Maui. And Downtown Farmers Market, which I know is in a bag over there. So Downtown Farmers Market, those are the ones that I own that I have not played yet, so I can't really talk about them. Now, of all the 27 on my wish list, I'm going to give you my top 5. And number 5 is Chai Tea for Two. It has been on my wish list all year. And I know there's a game, Chai Tea, that came out a couple years ago. But I'm interested in Chai Tea for Two because often I find myself with just one other player, and that way I get to play it. I love tea. I love chai tea. So the theme got me, and beautiful artwork, and it's a simple, though it is coming in on Board Game Geek as a little bit over, 0.17 over the casual level that I tend to use for this channel. Number 4 is Monolith by Phil Walker Harding. These are Phil Walker Harding games behind me a little bit there. Not all of them, but just those, yeah. And it's putting together these 3-dimensional blocks in weird shapes to create a visual that matches a card that you're trying to match up so you can get points. Number 3 of ones I'm hoping for is Paint the Roses, which is kind of a deduction game, similar to Decorum in its mechanics, in that you have something, you know that the Red Queen wants or doesn't want something in particular, and everyone has some other information, and so you're trying to appease the Red Queen before she's off with your head, before she catches up with you, and off with your head. So yeah, so it's a deduction type of game. It's sharing non-shared information, but you're trying to deduce this non-shared information. Yeah. Number 2 is my Shelfie, also a Phil Walker Harding game, and that's the one that has a standee similar to Connect 4, where you will be putting chipboard things, or maybe the higher end ones have plastic, I don't know, books, knickknacks and stuff, and you're trying to do them in a pattern that will get you points, extra points. So that's my shelfie. And number 1 is Turing Machine. I play Turing Machine. I want Turing Machine. It can be played solo. A lot of people like playing it solo because technically, even when you're playing it, for the most part, you're playing solo, except that you're trying to solve it before anyone else solves it. So that kind of gives a little bit of a stress to it. Personally, I don't like real fast, stressful games like that. So, it's like I like to be able to just think and look at it and read it and think. So I really would like Turing Machine, but it's just so hard to get right now. I'm hoping for a bigger printing and availability. I do have one. I mean, one. I want to mention that I really would like, but there's no way I will ever spend the money needed for Blood on the Clock Tower. The cheapest I've ever seen Blood on the Clock Tower is $168. That's the cheapest I've seen it. I have played it 3 times at retreat, twice before it even came out, and I've been a villager, I've been the demon, and I survived. So bad team won. It's a social deduction game, and it's a bit thinky. If you like RPGs, if you're you're a role player, or you like acting, being in plays, drama, all that kind of stuff, you might just like it a lot. And if you have a chance to play it, I would suggest playing it. Even if it's nothing like a board game. It's acting. It's acting your part in a way that the bad team doesn't know how powerful you are for the good team, and the good team doesn't know, or if you're on the bad team, that the good team doesn't realize you're on the bad team. And the game will last a couple hours at least. The last one I was in took about 2 3/4 hours. Yeah. There were like 12 of us playing. The more you have, the longer it usually takes to play the game. You have to have a good game master to run the game. But man, if I could get my hands on Blood on the Clock Tower, I would love that one. Other ones that are that are on my wish list, but I'm just going to name them. I'm not going to say anything about them. Acropolis, Caesar's Empire, Familiar Tales, First Empires, Flamecraft, Framework, Fife, Gartenbau, Green Team Wins, Midnight Murder Mysteries, Planet Unknown, Quirky Circuits Penny and Gizmo Snow Day, Rise, Scooby-Doo the board game, Star Trek Super Skill Pinball, Sum 8, Twin Palms, Verdant, and Walkie Talkie. There are a couple other games that I have played that are on my wish list, like Catherine, the City of the Czarinas, and Feed the Kraken. Yeah, I've played those, and enjoyed myself, and they're on my wish list. And that, my friend, should be, if I didn't miss something, 51 games that came out in 2022, and I have given you my top 10 of the ones I own and have played. I've given you my top 3 of the ones I own and am looking forward to play, and my top 5 of those that I do not own, but want to have them on my wish list, top of my wish list, my top 5. And that will do for today. It's been almost a half hour. So God bless you and your family, and happy gaming this week. Bye.